Hey guys, Albe here. I just returned the BMW G310R to the dealer after keeping it for a couple of days to do a review on it. And then I jumped on my F800, and obviously, being always late, I went on to drive the F800 a little spirited, and I was driving it like if it was the 310. But the F800 is not the 310, not even close to the 310. So a couple of times I went wide because the G310 is so nimble and so light that it just I got used to it real quick. So coming back to my bike was was different. And same thing when it comes to the throttle control. On the G310 I was just open the throttle all the way, while on a bigger engine you just can't do that. It reacts in a different way. So anyway, that takes me to a point that I want to talk about today. New riders and big bikes. We were all new riders at one point or another, and we all heard friends or acquaintances saying, "Oh yeah, now you need to buy a bike. You need to buy a 1000cc or a 750 at the very least, because otherwise you're gonna get tired of it really quick and blah blah blah, and you are not gonna like it." And you know what? That is a pile of... That is just a giant steaming pile of... from people that don't think before they open their mouth. Now, back in Italy, when you're 14, you can actually start driving a scooter. So everybody drives a scooter or some sort of motorized two wheels. So when you go from the scooter to a bigger bike, you already have some experience riding through traffic, splitting lanes, riding a two-wheel on the street. So the jump is not that big, besides because of the insurance and registration. Most guys can't quite jump right into a 1000cc bike. They have to go through most often a 600 because it's cheaper to own, cheaper to maintain. But what I've seen over here is people that have no idea how to ride a bike going out and buying themselves a 1000cc. There is a friend of mine that he never rode a bike in his whole life, went out and bought a CBR 953, hell of a bike. The result was when we went riding together, he wouldn't go faster than 25 miles an hour. Because the bike has a lot of power, it's heavy, it's a big street bike, so it's not as nimble as it should be for a novice. The result, it was painful to go around. Still fun, you know, a bike is a bike, but it took a little bit to get used to it, while if it would have picked a smaller bike, it probably would have progressed twice as fast. But so don't get peer pressure into buy a 1000cc bike as your first bike. That's asking for trouble. As I said before, the streets are full of bits and pieces of 1000cc first bikes. Get yourself something nimble, something comfortable. Learning how to ride, it's all a matter of just doing it. Ride as much as you can, and if your bike is not comfortable, it's going to be a nightmare to spend so many hours on the seat. So get yourself a 300, get yourself If you want a bigger engine, a 600, but don't go 600 crotch rocket, because even a Japanese 600 crotch rocket, it's a lot of power, it's a lot of bike. Get a naked, get a somewhat enduro looking bike, you know, get something that allows you to make mistake and gives you enough leeway to be able to recover before it's too late. And all those 300, they really do have a place in the market. That is going to be the fastest way to learn how to ride properly. You guys know I'm a big fan of BMWs. So in the case of the BMW, even if you get tired of it after 6 months, which I don't see that happen, because I had it for 2 days and I had a ball. It was so nimble and so easy to ride that it was really, really fun just to go around. So even if you get tired of it, they still have a good resale value. You can still sell it back and make some of the money back. But if you buy a 1000cc and you plant yourself on a turn, you know what you can do? You can't get any of your money back. There is a reason why those bikes are being sold. Now, if you started riding when you were 10 years old on a little dirt bike and you've been riding ever since, and now you want to move on to the street, at that point, since you have some riding experience, which dirt riding experience apply on the street, as long as you figure out how to manage with traffic, then at that point, yeah, sure, go for a 600 or so. But people don't understand. They see their friends on S1000RR, they see their friends on RSB4s and Yamaha's R1s and stuff, and they want to be right there with them. And guess what? That's the easiest way for you not to come home from a ride, because your friend with 1000 cc's knows how to ride, and it's really, really hard to go slow, especially if you have one of those bikes. So if you're riding together, he's gonna try to be a friend and go slow, but it's not easy, and he's gonna unleash every once in a while, and you want to try to stay with him. I'll guarantee you want to try to stay with him, and the result, you have a bike that doesn't allow you to make mistakes, because the flick of the wrist too much is a flick of the wrist too much. There is no getting it back. You have a 400-pound missile between your legs. I'm not talking about that type of missile. Once that 400-pound bike is set up on a direction, if you don't know how to manage it, it's gonna go in that direction. So do yourself a favor, save money, save time, and most of all, save yourself some pain, and buy the proper bike for your skill level. And then once you start living in the red line, meaning if you have a 300 and you see yourself pretty much in the 10,000 RPM area at all time, it's time to move on to something bigger. But at that time, you're gonna have the skills to deal with something bigger. So ride safe, my friends. As always, if you like the video, like. If you love the video, subscribe. Ride on. And I'll see you next time.